Warlocks have remained the PvE kings of Destiny 2 for almost the entire lifespan of the game. From speedruns to low mans, and now even raid races, most teams are using more Warlocks than ever before. Warlocks provide great crowd control for adds, survivability for themselves and others, and support for DPS phases. What's going on, guys? It's G-Miners here, and today I'm going over the Warlock builds and setups that I currently use for endgame content. I've had some of you guys in the comments ask me to make this video. It's going to be a bit different than my other build videos and will more so go over the best subclasses to use for different encounters. If you already played a lot of endgame content, this video might not be for you, but if you're looking to get into things, especially like day 1 raids, make sure to stick around. Okay, so to start off, I'm going to be glancing over my build in terms of the major mods. All of these mods are broken down in a previous video I made, but I will briefly cover them here. These mods are Stacks on Stacks, Supercharged, Protective Light, Taking Charge, and then 2 mods I interchange, which are Blast Radius and Quick Charge. The essence of this build is by getting kills with special weapons or picking up Orbs of Power, I am able to get a large amount of stacks of Charged with Light very quickly. The only time these stacks are used is to proc Protective Light, which helps me stay alive. You do not have to use this build. This is what I use, and it can definitely be modified. I only went over my build so that people could understand that this build lets me utilize multiple different playstyles and won't force my hand to play too aggressive or too passive. One thing that is very important to understand though is that no build will be insane when running a day 1 raid, and the same lies true for some builds even in Master VoG. The best builds that I've ever seen were the Warmind Cell builds because of how overpowered they were for ad clear. These have since been nerfed extremely hard in terms of both damage and range, so I doubt they will be meta for Witch Queen. I made this Protective Light build because it's simple, easy to use, consistent, and most importantly, it helps you survive. So with all of that out of the way that I play the game in endgame content, specifically day 1 raids, comes down to 4 different playstyles. 1 is crowd control. This is specifically when adds are pushing me and I need to hold a position. 2 is ad clear. This is when I need to push adds and quickly kill them to complete mechanics. 3 is boss DPS. This is pretty self-explanatory. And 4 is group play and survivability. This is pretty much when I will be well chaining with my teammates to do ad clear or mechanics. Let's start with crowd control. When playing like this, the best thing to utilize in my opinion is a stasis turret build. For this, I will utilize the exotic helmet Eye of Another World as it increases ability regen across the board, which helps me keep my turrets out at almost all times. I also like to use primary weapons with the perk Demolitionist for increased grenade energy on kills. The exact loadout I have on now is what I use for the opening part of Master VoG. There are builds where you can have 2, 3, 4, even 5 turrets out at once, but at the end of the day, you need to use a ton of mods that don't always leave room for Protective Light. On top of this, as soon as you mess up or die, the whole build will fall apart. So, in my experience, 1 turret is completely fine, and I've honestly never needed more than that one in all my time playing the game. This right now is the current Shadebinder setup I use. I am aware that there are other ones which are better for turret builds, and I might switch things up, but this is what I currently use. For the ad clear playstyle, the subclass I use comes down to the shields of the enemies in the raid. When running contests for VoG, I use Nova Warp during the Templar encounter to clear Minotaurs and other adds. We already had 2 Warlocks on well for damage, so I was only needed for ad clear. There were a ton of Minotaurs, each with Void Shields that would swarm after DPS phases, and Nova Warp made them easy to clear in groups. For Void Shields, as I just mentioned, I run Nova Warp. No exotic really helps for this. Arc Shields, I run Bottom Tree Stormcaller. The exotic chest piece Storm Dancer's Brace can help a ton with this. If there are Solar Shields, I would run Bottom Tree Dawnblade with the Dawn Chorus exotic helmet. And if there are not many enemies with shields at all, I would probably stick to Stasis to allow me to keep a turret. The Stasis super on Warlock is also extremely strong and has a ton of range. Templar during contest is the only time I actually remember ever running an ad clear super. It isn't needed often, but when it is, these supers are extremely useful. Before I go over the other 2 playstyles, if you guys found this video useful, make sure to drop a like and sub down below. Subbing is completely free, it helps me out a ton, and you can always change your mind later. When in a boss DPS encounter, I am either running Well or a DPS super. This comes down to how many Wells of Radiance we need as a team. When on well, I run Lunafaction boots, and that's it. Enough said. When running a DPS super, the super I run will either be Nova Bomb or Chaos Reach. If I am constantly running out of ammo, Chaos Reach is the way to go with Geomags. It does the most damage or DPS of any Warlock ult to my knowledge, but it obviously takes a lot of time. This is why it's useful if you run out of ammo and need the extra damage. If I need to do a quick burst of damage, I will use a Nova Bomb super. I only use Top Tree if I don't need Devour and if the Slova Bomb will not block my team's shots at the boss. Finally, whenever it is possible and useful for an encounter, my teammates and I will chain wells. To do this, all you need is 2 Warlocks with the Phoenix Protocol exotic chest piece. As long as you both stand in the Well of Radiance and you can get enough kills, half of your super will be returned before your well is gone. Being able to well chain typically will trump all other playstyles. Having a constant well is far better than Bleakwatcher turrets or ad clearing with supers. The only downfall is that you will need to grab ammo out of the well, but healing nades and protective light make this doable when there is a break in the action. The nice part about this is if you run 4 Warlocks, you can have 2 sides of an arena covered, each with a group chaining wells. This is, to the best of my knowledge, all the playstyles and subclasses that I use when doing day 1 raids and even content like Master Vog. Ultimately, the playstyle that you should use depends on what you need and not the type of encounter you are in. If ad clear is needed for a boss encounter, use an ad clear super. This comes down to you and your team's judgment. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below, and make sure you let me know if this video was helpful. Before I end the video, I wanted to mention I am going on a ski trip this week. I will be away all week, so if you don't see any new videos, that is why. When I get back, you already know you'll see new videos coming your way. But until then, make sure to leave a comment as to what you might want to see next. I made this video because somebody asked for it in the comments, so if you do the same, chances are I will make that video too. Anyways, that's all I got, guys. Peace.